The Federal Department of Fisheries and Oceans recently released a study about how the deep waters in the Gulf of St. Lawrence are warming up. And that's cause for alarm because we're not quite sure how that's going to affect the marine life in the water. So we're going to talk to Dr. Peter Galbraith from the Fisheries and Oceans. And welcome to the interview, Dr. Galbraith.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Look, why don't we start with kind of an overview of the study and tell us about the increase in temperature in the deep waters?
Yeah. Well, it's a study in terms that it's ongoing monitoring. So it's a monitoring program that's been running for 30 years or more, basically chaining up onto further monitoring that was done before. People started measuring the Gulf St. Lawrence in 1915. So it's been over 100 years. So we took over that mantle about 30 years ago. And we now have something called the AZMP, the Atlantic Zone Monitoring Program, where we set out to measure the whole Atlantic zone, basically roughly 3 to 4 times a year. So the whole water column at horizontal resolution sufficient to see any variability in the system. So it's mostly ship-based surveys for the Gulf St. Lawrence. It means going out in June, in August, and in the fall. And I do another survey by helicopter in the winter where I measure the winter conditions. So there's been measurements ongoing, high quality, for over 100 years. And for the past 30 years, it's high resolution spatially and vertically. And there's typically 500 measurements every year done. So high confidence.
And what did you find in the measurements?
Well, we're finding that the warmer waters, the deeper waters, have been warming since 1915. And these are waters that don't see seasonal variability. There's no connection to winter, summer. Basically, the Gulf St. Lawrence is a big estuary, so there's salt water flowing out of it. And to overcome that salt deficit, we're sucking in salt water from the ocean at depth. So we go out of the Gulf St. Lawrence, follow the Laurentian Channel across the ocean shelf, out to the continental shelf break. And there we'll be sucking in ocean water. And it'll take 2 years to reach the Gulf St. Lawrence at Cabot Strait and 3 more years to reach the estuary. So it's like a 5-year conveyor belt travel. And this water is a mixture of cold Labrador water and warm Gulf Stream water. And the ratio of mixture has been getting richer and richer and richer in Gulf Stream water. So it's been getting warmer. So since 1915, in 2015, we broke the 100-year record. It was the highest value on record. And every year since has been warmer than the last. So the overall average temperature at 300 meters has increased by 1.5 degrees over 10 years. So we're now at record levels, 100-year record levels.
My understanding that a lot of the heat that's been created as a result of climate change over the last 300 years has been stored in the world's oceans. Is this what's responsible for the increase in temperature?
Good question. Not indirectly, but not really. Basically, like the surface temperature really responds really quickly to air temperatures. And as I said earlier, these are old waters that are circulated in. So there are changes in the temperature of the source waters, but they're really small compared to the mixture, basically, which is happening between richer Gulf Stream water. So the link to climate change is further away to make. It's not directly the warmer air that's heating these waters. It's the richer contribution of Gulf Stream water, which is probably caused by climate change. There was a study a few years ago that co-authored by a colleague of mine at the Institute, where they looked at ocean modeling circulation on the global scale with pre-CO2, pre-industrial CO2 levels and double CO2 levels, and noted that the Gulf Stream had shifted northward enough that it would explain a richer contribution of Gulf Stream waters making it to the Gulf St. Lawrence. So it's climate change, but a twisted path.
Gotcha. So what's the impact on marine life likely to be, or do we even know?
Yeah, well, I'm a physical oceanographer, not a biologist. I don't speak for DFO on biology, but of course, in any such situations, there are winners and losers. Nordic shrimp, for example, are becoming at the upper end of their preferred temperature, anything above 6, and they start to suffer, and we're beyond that now. And redfish are at super crazy stock levels in the Gulf St. Lawrence. So in this explosion, and they're a warm water fish. So they're really happy with this warm water. So it's changing the species composition of everything from zooplankton to warmer, smaller species, warmer water species that tend to be smaller in size to, we've got whales that have shown up in the Gulf St. Lawrence now that we didn't used to have. And of course, shrimp don't like it and redfish do. So it's throwing off the whole ecosystem a bit.
Is this change in the diversity of the marine life and in the biosphere, it's probably not the right term, but I think you know what I mean. Is that just something that maybe is a normal process accelerated, or is this a change that we should really be worried about because it has serious consequences for the marine life and other parts of the ecosystem?
Well, certainly at the first level, it makes it certainly much harder for stock assessment biologists. They can't look 20 years ago, how is my stock doing in the same environment? Because there is no similar state. We're outside of the envelope of the known temperatures. And so the whole system shifting away, we're just adding an extra difficulty to understanding the whole thing because we're changing all of it at the same time. It's making it incredibly hard for biologists to sort out. But certainly it's unprecedented in terms of all the changes that we're seeing.
Dr. Galbraith, thank you very much for this. Really appreciate it.
You're quite welcome.